Yes, so this is about Giftolexia and the deep tech dyslexia solution that we have created. And as Rob mentioned, we started this journey in 2017, and I think the interaction with Jorg and Rob we had in between that. So Teena is my wife, and we have a third founding member who is a specialist in machine learning and AI. So he has not joined today, but that's the founding team. And as we go along, you'll get to meet the rest of the team as well. So this is what we plan to cover. Why it matters, what is the problem scape that we are trying to address, and why does it really matter at a global and national level? And then how have we addressed it? So what is the innovation, key part that's coming in, and who has made it happen? Like they say, it takes a village to raise a child. It definitely takes a lot more to create a big solution too. And what lessons for innovation leadership? So we'll take a look. Teena has done a lot in the effectuation and the innovation leadership framework, Stephanie, as you mentioned, is something we have often referred to also as being very useful. And we also cover some very interesting insights about women-led entrepreneurships, how it is a little different from, men-led. There's thought process to discuss. And feel free to, in case I'm not audible or clear or any doubts come in, and we definitely will have a Q&A at the end too. So this is the problem space that we are addressing, and it's a global one. It's across the world, across race, culture, language, all of that. And typically what happens is about 1 in 6 in a classroom. In India, it is 15% are dyslexic. Across the world, some it is 10%, but it's still a significant number. And these children are absolutely normal, but they're often graded as being dumb, lazy, they're not scoring well because of these problems. And usually what happens is, in India, in fact, because of the resource constraints such, if they are identified, it's somewhere around 13 years old, which is very near to their high school finish. So by the time the parents are all in a tizzy because, will the child pass through the exam? But the NIH in USA has said that you can identify dyslexia at 5.5 years on. Right? Now, these children will look very normal. They're quite bright in communication, but they need a support in this area. And so why does nature preserve dyslexia gene, right? That's a very important factor here. So typically, if you look, their IQ is above average or average. And this is typically how a general learner would look like. They have certain skills in connecting ideas, organizational skills, different skill capabilities that are required for a person to perform. But if you look at the dyslexic, they have a huge variation across the same IQ level. So you find that they could be pretty poor in planning. Time management is a huge pain. Background noise can be very distracting, but at the same time, they're pretty strong in three-dimensional thinking, connecting ideas, seeing the big picture, innovative, right? So there's a huge variation in the capabilities coming in. And if you look here, you can see that this is there's a lot of geniuses that we know of, we have heard of across cultures and races, right? Well, Steve Jobs is another famous one. Bill Gates also. Richard Branson in the UK, he's a evolved dyslexic, almost like a poster child. If you look at Ingvar Kamprad, IKEA, right? Or like a Keira Knightley or Whoopi Goldberg, Steven Spielberg, he's again a very avowed dyslexia, was identified very late, and he talks about the struggles he had. And it goes across different skills, General Patton, Churchill, Agatha Christie. So there's a lot of range here. At the same time, the interesting part is that the World Economic Forum has identified the dyslexia skill as a skill for the future, right? Especially in an AI-led world, we are not so much dependent on the knowledge hoarding in the mind. It is more about the leadership, the creative skills and such, this becomes even more important, right? And they have right now, in fact, introduced in LinkedIn, if you have dyslexia, you can treat that as a skill capability there, right? So they have all these compensating strengths that we did see a little earlier, reason why. Teena, maybe you'd like to...
Hi. Hi, good evening all. So this is where our journey started. We were part of the Women Startup Program at IIM Bangalore. IIM Bangalore is India's top management institute. They have a entrepreneurship cell within the institute. So, and they run multiple programs. They have a lot of women-centered programs. So we were part of the first Women Startup Program. So we were chosen as the last final 15 from an initial set of 1,700, and we had a batch of 50 of us who went through a rigorous boot camp, and 15 of us were chosen to be finalists. So this actually played a big role in in building our idea, because we went with the idea of licensing a similar solution from Sweden. But we realized the licensing costs were very high for the Indian market. So our mentors told us to develop a solution by ourselves. So interestingly, Professor Saraswati is also a visiting professor at NSR Cell, that's the entrepreneurship cell at IIM Bangalore. So we have attended sessions from her and have really built our solution in the early years based on principles of effectuation. So our initial plan of licensing did not really work out. So we now went back to the drawing board and started working again. We were very sure we wanted to bring the solution to India, an affordable solution for the Indian market. So we were fortunate to find a partner in who was making these equipments, eye tracking devices. We did try with other eye tracking devices before trying our partner's eye tracking device. So they had made the device to detect vertigo and related vestibular issues. So we repurposed it and built a software to capture gaze data. And so that's how we started building the solution. So we started by building just one solution. We built the first in English. Then later on, so that's the affordable loss that we could have. Later on, we were supported by one of the governments, government of Maharashtra, and we developed another language with their support. And then with the support of NASCOM Foundation, we developed a third language. So we slowly built one language at a time. Went from one language, small step validations, trying it out, then having a larger rollout, and then pandemic hit.
Yeah, thanks, Tina. I think that's the beginning of the journey, and a lot of steps that happen to build the value. Now, typically what happens is, for most of us are general learners, right? And reading comes fairly natural, right? Although it's a pretty complex task. And in many ways, reading as a gateway to learning and performance has come into the mainstream only about 250 years back. So it's a pretty complex skill that we learn as a child, and then we get quite natural. So if you see the process of the reading, the mind focuses on certain areas, and then we keep moving. So there's a bit of fixation that happens. And this is typically how, this German about the beaver animal, how the reading happens as we go along. And this happens quite seamless, so we don't know that there are these problems happening. Now, what happens in a dyslexic is they would pause a lot more. So their circles here would be larger, depending on the severity of dyslexia. And they would have sometimes a reverse regression that comes in because they couldn't interpret a particular letter or the word. So that's how they get the reading is a little painful for them. So this is a solution that we created. It's a deep text solution. And as you can see here, you have a goggles, as Tina was mentioning, that the child wears. You can top off glasses too. And it enables through an infrared sensor to read the pupil of the eye, the tracking of it. And we use a poster, smart poster, because it's got IoT enabled LED devices for calibrating. We started with a TV, but then we found that in India, many schools don't have a TV or displays too high. So we made changes there. Then we made it portable, so you can do it just with a laptop. So it doesn't matter if there's a power break in any of these locations that the test is being done. It is the data gets uploaded to a cloud, and then we apply machine learning algorithms on it, and it makes it a lot more objective. We're not dependent on the subjective elements of the experts or the availability. So this is the overall solution that was created, and it's frugal, fast, and accurate. So the typical challenge that schools, parents, teachers across India were facing was that this is a pen and paper based model that is used. It takes about 30 minutes. You need 2 trained teachers. It can take, the time for the results to come could be more than a week. Or if you have a clinic in the government, which is few and sparse across a large country like India, it can take a longer time, 1.5 to 2 months for the results to come, and costly. Whereas what we have done here, what you've seen is it takes 5 minutes for the child to read age appropriate content, right? And within less than a week, you have an assessment that is coming. So that's quite a powerful thing. And if you look at the full value proposition, like I said, in 5 minutes, you can do the test instead of 30 minutes, otherwise minimum that takes. It is portable. You don't wait for the child or parent need to come to a central district or location. You can take it to the school, and it is about 1/5 the cost. We saw how economic it is, and it is architected with machine learning to make it more functional. And across these 9 years that we have started and developed the solution, we got recognitions from many major tech companies and supporting in this. These are the Indian biotech related ministry and departments. The NASCOM is the software apex agency. All the way up to in 2023, World Economic Forum selected 3 startups from India, and we are one of them. So we are taken as a tech pioneer that would take the solution across to the world. And this is something that is not that common knowledge. Typically, in a language, we talk about orthography. So if you have one-to-one mapping of a letter to a sound, like in Italian, German, Spanish, it is quite transparent. But on the other end, if it is like English, right, you could have a situation where what you write is not exactly what you read all the time. And that is an opaque one. And then French, Portuguese, Danish, Norwegian come in between these. Now, what that means for the child is that, when we make sense of what we read, there's an orthography part which is text related. There's a phonology part which is a speech related, because we convert these words to sounds and then the brain interprets that into meaning. So dyslexic people have a problem at this level. And that's one of the key interventions that we also developed to take across. And one of our biggest breakthrough, and the one that's enabled us to get a patent, and also the World Economic Forum and other recognitions, is that we have made an algorithmic adaptation. So depending on whichever language, the basic algorithm can remain. We need to tune it to the specific age group or the language. So that gives a lot more flexibility and speed to get into other areas. So as Teena mentioned, we initially started with English, then we developed for 4 Indian languages, and Indian languages are more transparent, right? Whereas English is opaque. So we have covered both ends of the solution as such. And this is the scale up pre-COVID. This is how we were doing more physical activities. Then post-COVID, we went into a more digital, mobile-based online classes model. And you can see how it is done. Initially, we started with Maharashtra, which is about 3 times the size of France, but with 5 times the number of population. So you can imagine how it feels, right? And post that, we did 3 states in the south. And then we went into another major state, Rajasthan, on the west side of India. And recently, we have taken up the northeast states that you see on the corner. So these are different languages and others that we have been supporting in.
So this is the team that has, and advisors and mentors that has helped us develop the different solutions that we have. We have 3 founding team members, and we have scientific advisors from IISc, a top science institute based in Bangalore, and Triple IT Bangalore. And Dr. Srinivas is our equipment partner. And we have also domain advisors from the clinical psychology side. We have advisors on the business side. So this is the ecosystem that we have built. So there are, agencies that have given us a grant, has given us support through incubation or acceleration. We have local partners that we partner with whenever we are screening in different locations. And Ecuador is our equipment partner. And we also have, partnerships with colleges, engineering colleges based in Bangalore, where we have interns who work with us. And so it is quite affordable for us. And for the students, since they get trained, they also do actual work, they get one of the best placements at the end of their course. So which in turn gives us the next best students for the next year. So this has been going on for almost 6-7 years right now. So I just did mention about the difference between how women and men look at entrepreneurship. So especially in the Indian context, the support system needs for women are far more. For us, our kids were bigger. So the requirements were not that much, but we did have a lady in our batch of 50 who had a baby who was an infant less than a year old. So she attended the boot camp where her husband waited outside with the baby. So your needs, support system needs are quite different. And the kind of collaboration models that we built are also, quite different. That's what Ajit feels. Because the 50 team members that we were part of the boot camp, we are still connected. And we're there to help each other. We meet not very often, but at least once or twice a year we still meet. We meet online sometimes, we meet offline. So the bond still continues, and then they are there if you want to connect to someone, or if you're looking for a specific skill set. There are always people to to look out for. And also we work with a lot of freelancers for our programs. So more than 90% of them are women returning to work. So this is remote work, and so this suits them. And while building collaborations, we also take a different approach. So we do have collaborations with different people. With Dr. Ruma, she's a very senior professor at NIMHANS. I remember I had to spend an hour waiting to get a 10-minute meeting in the first 2-3 meetings. But you have to have that patience. And then she became one of our biggest champions. Even in building our collaboration with our partner also, I look at it very differently. And it is not, so we have partners whom we can call at 3 a.m. in the morning if there is an emergency. It so happened last week we were screening in a private school, and my system, the application crashed the previous night. So technicians from our collaborator at as early as 7 a.m., they were up and working. And even when I was traveling to the school, they fixed it before we reached the school. So to build that kind of relationship, you have to keep the relationship going even when there is no obvious requirement of time. You remember their birthdays, you go with a gift during Diwali, or I've already ordered a Christmas hamper for them. You remember their children's birthdays, make sure that, so these small things is what really builds that very strong relationship, very strong bond. And obviously there are other financial considerations, but to have someone help you at 7 a.m. in the morning, you have to go beyond that.
Yeah, and this is a running joke between Teena and me, because basically she's a gold medalist in economics and I come from the tech side. But the deep tech solution, the leadership, she brings in a lot. And I often say there's an advantage of a non-tech person working on a deep tech solution because for us from the tech side, we get enamored with the bells and whistles. There's a lot of thing that comes in just with the new tech that you're playing with. But for a non-tech person, it just gets down to a little more business need. Where does this hit the rubber hits the road?
Pushing oneself to learn and grow, like Ajit mentioned, I'm a non-techie, and our initial plan was never to have built the solution. We were planning to license the solution. So I had a lot of learning to do. So I woke up 30 minutes early every day for a month or two, read research reports and articles multiple times. I had my nephew teach me on what we were doing. So I needed to build enough understanding and knowledge to talk to a techie or when we are pitching the solution. And I had to build that much skill to answer the questions. And so I needed to have a certain level of understanding. So as a founder and CEO, you have to have certain basic understanding about, be it accounting, even areas that are not related to you, not to do accounting as such, but a broad understanding about the different areas. And then you can have experts to, take care of the different things. And very important to understand what your strength is and also understand your weakness and really try to build your skill set to a manageable level. That's one of learning and building your skill, the need for it and how it actually helps is one of the important lessons that we've learned. And I spoke about building collaborations. How do you make those collaborations long lasting? How do you make sure that it is it's beneficial to both of them? I mean, to each other, and also help anyone that you can, help, be it connects, be it the small things that you do, and without expecting anything in return. Your reward probably will come from somewhere else. And one of the big things that I've learned through making a mistake was when you're starting up, you're very resource constrained. So when you're when you're looking for people, when you're onboarding people, sometimes the salary becomes a big constraint for you. So earlier we took someone who fitted our salary bracket, but I realized that's not the right decision to do. When you have a budget, find a smart person. You can engage with them for 2 months instead of engaging with somebody else who is not as smart for 12 months. So that's a big lesson that I've learned in this journey. So now, as we conclude, so if any of you or your family members or anyone wants to have to talk to somebody on anything related to learning disabilities, please connect with us. We're more than happy to have a conversation and see in what way we can support them. And our ask from all of you is, we're looking to go outside the Indian geography. So if there are connections, collaborations, connections to experts, connections to people who are working in the same area, connects to CSR funds, connects to grantees, connects to investors, all of those are welcome. And you can also help us with your time if you would like to do that. Thank you so much.
Yes, and one of the points here is we've actually baked our mission into the name. It's like how do we help the world discover the gift of dyslexia? So that's why the venture is called Giftolexia.
I work with a lot of people, autism, traumatic brain injury, PTSD, and other neurodiverse communities.
Okay.
Are there applications beyond dyslexia?
We do not have solutions we focus specifically on learning disabilities like dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia. these are more academic in nature. Students with these conditions don't have an IQ deficit, but they have challenges with reading, spelling, math, etc.
What is this device? Is it from B-Gaze? What is the software? I just want to know more about what exact eye tracking tool was used.
Okay. So we use an eye tracking device with infrared cameras.
Mhm.
It is made by this company called Equido, based in Bangalore.
Okay, Ecuador.
Okay. And software is developed by us, which
Okay.
captures gaze data. And we use this particular eye tracking device. We did try with other eye tracking devices, but the data is very consistent because it's wearable. You have eye tracking devices that you attach to the laptop or the TV.
Mhm.
But this is, since it's wearable, the data is more very consistent.
Mhm.
And helps us get better results. So that's why we use this particular eye tracking device. Software is developed by us. We also have developed a web application portal where this data is uploaded and the analytics engine runs there and generates reports, which the parent can access on authentication.
What are the challenges that you faced to, like if you can share your insights on how did you build a team or how did you decide on what intervention methods to go and how did you implement it?
So see, actually, we started with the screening, but we always had plans for teacher training and interventions were part of our original plan. But during the pandemic, since schools were closed and we couldn't screen, it was not very safe to go out and screen. So we, started our intervention programs. So we slowly built, one level at a time, tested with children, and keep improving it. So we tested with a batch of children and what worked, what should be the duration of each class. If you're having a group class, what is the ideal duration? If you're having a one-on-one session, what is the ideal duration? How do you engage with the child, especially when it's an online model? So we have methods in which how do we engage with the child? What time do you give a short break through even showing a short video? They play a small game. They do, a stretch or something like that.
How about attention deficit disorder?
That also we do because it is a comorbidity with learning disabilities. A lot of children who have dyslexia may have ADHD. So we are actually trying to also screen for ADHD. But the markers are slightly different. We're still in the early stages of developing a full-scale screening to identify ADHD.
Yeah, maybe a short comment from my side. So not a professional comment, just a view in German schools and the screening practice. What I think just also the shortage of the screening time itself, and to distribute these short tests for schools. When I think how long does it takes in Germany to have access to the screening tests and how it is contextualized, and you have to go to medicine center and you have to wait for sometimes 1 year in Germany to have access to screening tests. It's really crazy. So I can imagine that still the part of screening could be easily disseminated using this technology and integrate schools and ecosystems around schools to make that easier. So if you relate it to Europe, so it's really highly innovative, just that part.
Right.
No, the situation in India also is very similar. You have not 1 year wait, but in India, not a lot of children want to get screened or parents want to get their children screened because it's a huge stigma around learning disabilities in India. It's basically because of lack of awareness. They do not distinguish between the different neurodiversities and they see it all as one. And we have parents from say smaller towns asking what happened during when I want to get my daughter married. No one will marry her if she's identified as dyslexic. Yeah. So that's the kind of mindset we have in smaller towns in India.
Yeah,
So
we have the same stigma in Zurich, Basel, or in Berlin. So it's not really related to India. So it's the same stigma, even stronger here.
Should have been, are you blessed with dyslexia? Because it's so much of a strength once you compensate your learning challenges. I mean, that's an important part.
You could think of your project as a way to ensure potential's not lost. That's
yes,
one way of thinking about it.
yes, absolutely, yes.
You've created a remarkable technical solution, but for a very compelling human purpose. Where did the energy come from for you?
So yeah, we are parents to we're blessed to have a child with dysgraphia. He was identified very late. He was identified around 13. But he, with the right support, he went on to do extremely well for himself. He went to one of the best design schools in India, and he's gainfully employed. So, when he was identified or prior to his identification, we really didn't know much about it. I had never heard the word dysgraphia. As I knew dyslexia. But he had no reversals. He was never failing in school. So there were no, so to say, alarm bells till his teacher in class 8 told me that, he should probably assess him for a learning disability. So that is, so we have seen the struggle, we've seen the success once he was identified and given the right support. So we, if we can screen children early on, you make their school life better, happier. Yes, so that is that kind of drives us. Yes, it's really, really tough. Market entry is really difficult. So yeah.
In fact, we had a recent case where the child, a girl, the 5th standard, she was based in Dubai, and the interventions were done online, right? So she was a very hesitant reader, but once the phonic interventions were done, about a month's course, her mother sent us 3 months later a certificate from a teacher saying she got the best reader award for her class. Wow. Right? It's really heartwarming when you get to see the change that can happen.
The child could not go beyond 3-letter words. So, I think 20, 30 days of intervention. And the mother keeps sending us that he started reading almost everything. He'll go to a restaurant, he'll start reading the menu. Huge improvement. So these kind of stories actually keep us going.
This particular cases actually became popular after one of the movies in Hindi in India. It's called Tare Zameen Par. Actually, after that, people realized that there is a specific challenges with the children of learning. Actually, so I always admire some of the work done by the book Mindset by and I missed the name actually. Is it the mindset was very specifically why certain kids really struggle to learn, even though it's been taught by the same teacher, and some really learn very fast. The entire work is done on basically on the children actually. It was an amazing book actually for anyone who wants to really understand. Including for my own son when he was in 12th, actually I was on the question mark what is his strengths are actually. So I keep really talking to many of the other kids. Actually, our own kids, it's always very challenging to really underline that. So finally, I took that Gartner's strengths. Actually, it gave some kind of insight for him to understand what exactly their strengths are actually. So I think this is something amazing, what Ajit and Teena are doing actually. So yeah.
Well, very useful, Paul, and thanks so much for the engagement, Lokesh. I think we'll check that out. And Sam and Brian, thanks for bringing out the work on mindset, the growth mindset, and the other part. So I think Mark had a question, so maybe we can.
Yeah, only because you've got quite an international audience here. I'm just wondering if there's anything that we can do to help you scale internationally.
When we're scaling outside, we would like to collaborate with some partners who are already doing similar work in whichever country we're going to. So that will actually, help us. So even in India to scale, we partner with organizations that do health check in schools. So they do basic health checks like dental, eye, and all that. So we partner with them. So they already have a team. So the team does. So anything similar, people who are working in a similar area, that will be the, one of the ways. The second is to connect us to experts in your country.
And possibly also there are a lot of social impact investors. I mean, if someone connects to you, because even for a specific country, a specific language, we can also adapt the algorithmic solution towards that. So there are different ways in which we can definitely connect and collaborate.
Well, what I was thinking is that in the UK, quite similar to what Stephanie was saying, we have a massive problem with what we call special educational needs.
Yes.
And there's a huge shortage of resources there. And it sounds like you've got an amazing tool that could substantially help that. Now, I don't know if there are people who are actually in this space deeply researching, doing something similar, but I suspect if we were able to show what your tool could do,
Yes.
it might open a lot of eyes and certainly demonstrate, get quite a lot of interest from our government.
Yes. So there is an organization made by Dyslexia in UK who's really creating a lot of awareness and.
Yeah, but I think the deep tech sort of solution to help disintermediate the infrastructure and expertise, that has not been so much explored. And that's an area, as Mark, as you rightly said, we could possibly, and I think Stephanie also mentioned, these are areas where we can make a sort of leave no kid behind sort of approach to actually make it happen.
Absolutely. And I can think of a whole bunch of our students that would give quite a lot of their innovation time to do this as part of their studies, just to have a look at how it could scale, etc. So, I can see lots of opportunities of getting hold of some relatively inexpensive and enthusiastic resources, which can sometimes be a big challenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we love to connect.
Ajit and Teena, thank you so much. Can we let's give a round of applause all, and there you go.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been absolutely a big pleasure and honor to be with you all to share this.